Such a beautiful day. Sadly, it belies what we've lived through the last few. I don't know if you can check this shit out, but I think we've had 3 snowstorms in the past 10 days. And I'm not talking about light flurries. I'm talking about back-breaking, shoveling, soul-destroying snowstorms. I know, I complain a lot on this channel about the weather. Hey dude, you choose to live in the far north. That's what's gonna happen. I don't think I'm ever gonna ride a bike again. I think that ship sailed. So if anyone's interested in some bikes, drop a comment below, let me know, because it looks nice, sure. And it's not as cold as it has been. But we're supposed to get more snow.
Yeah, another 20 next week.
Another 20 centimeters next week. Or so they say. Oh joy. So I'm off to sunny San Diego tomorrow. I know it's hard to complain about the weather and how shitty that living in Ottawa is when I'm jetting off to San Diego like a playboy. Like a player. No. I'm going to work. I'm going to be down in San Diego for a few days. Going down to a conference. So if any of my viewers are based in Southern California, in the San Diego area, I know of some pretty dope bike shops that I should be checking out. Drop a comment below, let me know. I think I have a little bit of free time. Sadly, I won't be riding. No time for that. It's one of those winter days, and March is still a winter month in Ottawa.
Absolutely.
Sometimes I like to think that March 1st is spring, away we go, winter's done. But it never quite works out like that. March is one of those transition months, much like September, October is in the fall. But it's one of those days where it's just warm enough and the melt is going on around us. We can hear it. We can hear the snow melting off the roofs. And yeah, you just get this vibe.
Happiness. It's the happiness that comes with the vitamin D and being outside. The depression, baby?
No, the anticipation is palpable that this too will end. And we will move into spring and it will be gorgeous again.
It's true.
Just walking around, you know, people are smiling a little bit more. They don't look like me 90% of the time, scowling, pissed off at the world because I can't ride my bike outside. All right, we are suitably watered and fed. Let's go home so I can talk about my new bike. Okay, so let's talk about the new bike real quick. I can't unfortunately show you anything related to the new bike. I could talk about how I'm speccing it, but I want to save that for when the bike eventually arrives. If you watched the vlog from last week, I said the lead time on a custom-made bike from this manufacturer or this boutique bike builder was going to be around 6 to 8 weeks. I think the process kind of works whereby you put a deposit down, let's say it's $1,000. That doesn't mean they're going to kick off the design for you. What that means is it holds a place in the queue. The next step in the process is when that spot opens up, what they're going to do is they're going to reach out to me. They're going to ask for 50% of the overall cost at that point, and that's when they start the build process. So what is it? What have I thrown all my shekels behind? I have decided to go down the route of having a steel frame built, custom. I've done carbon, I've done aluminum. I had an old steel Bianchi. I recently sold that. It really wasn't that great a bike. But I did learn one lesson from my experience with that steel Bianchi, and that was its comfort. It was one of the most comfortable bikes. It was one of the most funnest bikes that I've ridden. It wasn't a bike that I really wanted to take climbing. It weighed a ton, but boy, comfortable, soaked up all the bumps, and at the end of the day, it was a joy to ride. It had issues, and that's why I got rid of it. So yeah, I've decided to go with a custom steel bike. Most of you won't know the bike builder. They're called Mariposa. They're based in Toronto, Ontario. They've been building steel bikes since 1969. It was a company founded by a chap called Mike Barry Sr. That name may ring a bell. He passed away a couple of years ago. His son took over the business. His name is Michael Barry Jr. He raced, I believe, for U.S. Postal Service with Lance Armstrong back in those heydays. So he is an accomplished cyclist, was an accomplished cyclist, and he's decided to take on the business. He's been working there for a while now. And yeah, and he's married to a woman called Deirdre Barry, or Dee Dee Barry. She also works at Mariposa, and she is the person that I'm interfacing with, also a very accomplished American cyclist. There is quite an extensive form to fill out. I'm not making the trip, and I mentioned this last week, I'm not actually going to make the trip to Toronto to get fitted. I'm far too busy to do that. Well, I could probably squeeze it in, but I really don't want to drive in the winter 4.5 hours to Toronto to get fitted. Not if I don't need to. So there is a fairly extensive form that you need to fill out on their website. Send that in. I've done that. Everything looks tickety-boo. The paint decision, I'm going to wait before I unveil that. I've kind of gone for something a little funky. Hopefully you'll like it. I know I'll like it. In about 10 weeks, I should have a brand new bike to show you. Totally custom steel frame. One of the things I'll need to decide on is what kind of steel tubing is best suited to the riding that I'm going to want to do. Do I want to go for something a little bit heavier, leaning more towards comfort, or something lighter, hence a little stiffer, a little racier? And maybe I can get a combination of the two or the three. I think there's at least 3 options that I can have. So that's going to be kind of exciting to see how they put all that together. So that's a wrap, guys. As I mentioned, heading off to San Diego tomorrow morning. Bag needs to get packed. Need to hit the sack, get some sleep. Early morning start tomorrow morning. San Diego for a few days, then I'm back. We will regroup. Have a great week while I'm away. Maybe some footage from San Diego. And again, if you know of any cool bike stores that I should be checking out while I'm down there, put them in the comments below. I have a bit of free time. A little bit of free time. Yeah, and I'll see you next week. Take care.